Every year, millions of people make up excuses not to answer calls. They look at the screen, see a name, even someone they love, and just don't pick up. Then they text back, "Sorry, missed it." That's not rudeness. That's not laziness. That's a symptom of something much deeper happening in your brain the moment your phone starts vibrating. And by the end of this video, you'll know the real reason, the one psychology influencers and productivity coaches never talk about. But first, we need to answer one very important question. Why is a phone call stressful? It's just a conversation, a voice, words, nothing dangerous. But your brain doesn't see it that way. The moment an incoming call appears, it triggers the same response as a sudden threat. Not a metaphor. Studies in neuroscience show that an unpredictable stimulus, and a phone call is always unpredictable, activates the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. You don't know how long the conversation will last. You don't know what you'll be asked. You can't prepare. And that inability to control the situation, that's exactly where the panic comes from. Think of it this way. A message is a letter. You open it when you're ready. You read it at your own pace. You think about your reply. You can reread it if needed. But a phone call is someone barging into your space without knocking, right now, demanding your attention immediately. Not in 5 minutes. Not when you finish your coffee. Right now. And your brain processes it exactly like that. As an intrusion. As a violation of your space. Even if the person calling is someone you genuinely care about. Here's where it gets really interesting. Among people who hate phone calls, psychologists have identified something they share. It's not anxiety as a diagnosis. It's a specific type of nervous system, a highly sensitive one. About 20% of the world's population has it. Their brains literally process more information per unit of time, louder, deeper, more intensely. A phone call for them isn't just a conversation, it's simultaneously the tone of the voice, the pauses, background sounds, the meaning of words, the emotions of the other person. All of it, all at once, with no option to pause. Now add the decade of messenger apps. For the past 10 years, we've been training our brains on asynchronous communication. Send a message, wait, read it, reply when it's convenient. We literally retrained ourselves. And now the synchronous format, a real-time phone call, feels almost ancient, like someone asking you to write a letter by hand instead of sending a text. The brain resists. That's not a quirk. That's neuroplasticity in action. There's one more thing almost nobody talks about. And here, hold on. Because this is exactly what explains why some of you are afraid of calls even from your closest friends, even from family, even when you actually want to talk, but you can't make yourself press the button. I'll get to that at the end. It's connected to how your brain stores social memory. And when you hear it, a lot of things are going to click into place. But first, let's talk about what actually happens during a call. Your brain is not resting. It's multitasking, listening to words, analyzing tone, forming a response, tracking pauses, worried about saying something wrong. All simultaneously. This is called cognitive load. And for people with highly sensitive nervous systems, this load is many times higher than for most people. After that kind of conversation, they feel like they just ran a marathon. Literally, not a figure of speech. That's exactly why, after an uncomfortable or simply unexpected call, you might spend hours replaying the conversation, wondering if you responded correctly, whether your voice sounded right, whether a pause you took offended someone. This is called rumination, and it's a classic sign that your nervous system was running on overdrive. The brain is trying to replay the situation, find a better version. Only the past can't be changed, and the nervous system keeps burning through its reserves. The social battery isn't just a cute internet metaphor, it's a real neurological phenomenon. Every person has a limit of social resources, time, energy, attention they can give to interaction with others. For extroverts, This battery charges through being around people. For introverts, it drains. For highly sensitive people, it drains faster than for most. And a phone call isn't just socializing. It's socializing with maximum battery consumption. That's why people who hate phone calls often feel disproportionate exhaustion after what seemed like a short conversation. A 5-minute call can feel like an hour of intense meetings. That's not weakness, that's physiology. And here's something crucial to understand. You can't just pull yourself together and stop reacting this way. Because this isn't personality. This is your nervous system. And you don't negotiate with your nervous system. You learn to understand it. Now let's talk about personal boundaries. Why does a phone call feel like a violation of them? Because a boundary is, at its core, control over your own time and attention. When someone texts you, you decide, now or later. When someone calls, that decision is made by the person calling. They're saying, I want your attention right now, without asking if that's convenient for you. That is a violation of autonomy, even if the caller genuinely meant well. In psychology, this is called psychological reactance. When our freedom is restricted, even with good intentions, we automatically resist. It's a basic instinct. A child told, don't touch, reaches for the forbidden object. An adult who gets an unexpected call feels irritation, even if they were about to call that same person themselves. Irony? No. Psychology. There's one more factor that makes calls particularly heavy for certain people. The fear of spontaneity. Not everyone reacts to the unexpected the same way. For some people, it's a thrill, adrenaline, aliveness. For others, it's a threat. Psychologists call these people order-oriented. They need predictability. They plan. They prepare. And a call that crashes into their schedule without warning isn't just an inconvenience. It's a small catastrophe for their nervous system. Now, let's talk about what happens in your head even before you pick up the phone. Or don't pick up. In a fraction of a second, your brain runs a threat assessment. Who's calling? Why? What will you have to say? How long? How might it end? If there are no answers, and with an incoming call there almost never are, anxiety climbs. This is called anticipatory anxiety, and it can be so powerful that the actual conversation feels easier than those few seconds of waiting before answering. And now we've reached what I promised at the beginning. Why some people are afraid to call even those they love, even when they genuinely want to talk. The answer is in how the brain stores social experience. Every awkward conversation, every silence you didn't know how to fill, every, oh sorry, I interrupted you, all of it gets recorded. A pattern forms. Live communication equals risk of getting it wrong. And the brain starts avoiding that risk, automatically, without your conscious involvement. This is called conditioned avoidance, a classic mechanism that psychologists have studied for over 100 years. At some point, you experienced enough uncomfortable calls, and your brain concluded, better not risk it. Now it sabotages every attempt. You reach for the phone and put it back down. You dial a number and cancel. That's not indecisiveness, that's neural protection. Your brain is literally trying to protect you from pain it once memorized. What do you do about it? First, stop thinking of yourself as strange, because you're not strange. You're one of millions of people with a highly sensitive nervous system that simply processes social experience differently. This isn't a flaw, it's a trait. And like any trait, it can be understood and worked with. Not fought, not broken. Worked with, gently, consciously, at your own pace. Second, negotiate. This sounds simple, but it changes everything. Text before calling. Can I call you at 6? That's not weakness. That's respect, for yourself and for the other person. You're giving your brain time to prepare. You're removing the element of surprise. You're reducing anticipatory anxiety. And the call transforms from a source of stress into a normal conversation between two people. No magic, just neuroscience. Third, give yourself permission to have short calls. 5 minutes is fine. Hey, just wanted to clarify one thing, 2 minutes tops. That's not rude, that's honest. Your resources are limited, and that's a fact, not an excuse. People who set clear boundaries in communication, according to psychological research, experience less burnout and maintain relationships longer. A boundary isn't a wall. It's a door with a handle. And finally, the most important thing. What I want you to take with you from this video. Hating phone calls isn't a character trait. It's a signal. A signal that your nervous system is overloaded, that your social battery hasn't been charged in a long time, that somewhere in your life there's too much unpredictability, too little control, too many expectations from others, and too little attention paid to yourself. This signal doesn't need to be muted. It needs to be heard. Because people who hate phone calls are, as a rule, people with rich inner lives, deep thinkers, feeling more than they show. They're not avoiding connection, they're looking for quality connection. Not shallow small talk, but real contact. And there's nothing wrong with that. Quite the opposite. It's rare, and it's valuable. The world just doesn't quite know how to talk to you yet. But now, you know how to explain yourself to the world.